And obviously we all started for many, many reasons, but Arnold was, I think, for every single one of us, someone that we inspired to be at least a piece of that. And to come up here and be, involved with the competition along with these great champions that were crowned, it's the respect factor. I mean, we've been through a lot of different adversity, all of us up here with different challenges. And I think that's what bodybuilding is all about. I mean, it's about going to the gym every day. A lot of people use that as a different outlet. I mean, for me, it was just to relieve some stress at 18 years old, and I found that journey to be impactful, not only to me and the people around me, but to a worldwide audience. And I think that's what, the Arnold Classic represents. It's an international stage invitation. We have so many great athletes, not only from the United States, but sitting here, I mean, guys represent different countries, the experience that we all go through. And, I think the Expo, biggest ever, this stage means so much. I mean, I won this thing 3 times in the early 2000s. Seems like just yesterday, I got 3 of these bad boys here, like you said, most muscular awards. But the most important thing was Arnold gave me that. At 12 years old, I witnessed Arnold in movies, and to just be a part of this thing, it's a true honor for all of us. I think we all feel the same, and we appreciate every moment that we can spend with Arnold.
Now, Phil, there's a mic on every seat. They should be on. Phil, we brought out all the champions last night. It was interesting because in previous years, at the 35th anniversary, 30th anniversary, we bring all the Arnold Classic champions out on stage. You have 7 Olympia titles, so nobody's saying anything bad about that. Never won an Arnold, but it was really special. You were out here with Lee Haney. Lee also hadn't won an Arnold title, but it wasn't just about, hey, let's bring out the former Arnold Classic champions. It was about celebrating bodybuilding greats. So you got to come up here on stage in Columbus with yourself, all the champions, of course, Lee Haney. What was that moment like for you?
Oh my gosh. To be quite honest, I had to take a moment and just look at all of you guys that was here. I mean, it was capacity crowd, and I just was allowing myself to take in the moment. There's been a lot of times when we're on this stage, we're just doing our thing, and those moments just pass us by. But I took a moment and was like, be present. Everyone in here is acknowledging what Arnold truly exemplified, which is hard work, dedication, and man, I'll never forget that moment last night. Growing up in Seattle, Washington, I was like always wanting to be an athlete. Growing up in the 80s, I always say that we had it made because that's when real men were men. Guys like Arnold being in the President's Council of Fitness, doing that fitness test. I still remember doing that and then having the opportunity to be on the stage. I never thought I would be a Mr. Olympia. Didn't grow up wanting to be Mr. Olympia. But it did start actually here. I did my first Arnold Classic 2007. Got to see Victor Martinez win. That following year, got to see Dexter Jackson win. And then I got to see Kai Green win in 2009 and then compete with Kai in 2010 and got to see him win. And although, I never won here in Columbus, I was able to win in Madrid, and I was thankful for that. But to be up on this stage, I'll never forget it. And I'm so appreciative of you, the fans, that, it's not easy for you guys to, pull those resources to be able to make the decision to come here, and you probably don't know what you're going to get out of it. But I really, truly hope that you guys were able to see us on this stage and that we were happy. We were happy to see your faces. We were happy to feel your support. And I just thank God for everything. And I just truly want to say thank you guys for showing up even on this Sunday after having that long weekend.
Now, Kai, just before you came out on stage, it should be right behind you. Right before you came out on stage, I was talking to Andrew about his Best Poser Award. Now, when you unofficially retired, stepped away from the stage, there was a void left when you stepped away from that art of posing. And we're seeing some of the guys bringing it back. And Andrew, of course, in classic physique, that's kind of the standard. But in men's open bodybuilding, when you left the stage, it felt like there was a bit of a void for the real art of posing. Andrew has really stepped up and kind of worked his way into that role that everybody's looking forward to. Was that cool for you to see him do his thing last night?
Well, thank you. Thank you for the question. Good evening, good morning, everyone. Yeah, actually, it was awesome. It's awesome to watch him. You know, one year we actually watched Andrew do his posing routine, and the thing he does that is a very difficult thing to try to do at over 200 pounds. He makes it look very, very, very easy. This full split. You know, it is something that is, I think, even more difficult when you are dehydrated, you know, and there's so many things that can happen that are unexpected. But he takes that risk every time. For me, I would be, I just don't even think I'd be able to do something like that. But he is awesome, and he makes it look very, very easy. And yeah, it's awesome to see him do it last night, and I pray he continues to do it as he continues to do his thing. Yeah.
And now, how many people in the audience have been with a seminar with Ronnie Coleman before? Raise your hands. Okay, so a handful, but not a ton. And Ronnie and I do a lot of seminars, so I feel like we've talked about this a lot, Ronnie. But as you can see, a lot of people attending their first seminar that we get to feature. Ronnie, you got one Arnold Classic title, 2001. Arguably, a lot of people think that was one of your best years. I know some people say 98. Some people love that 2003 just monster look. But your 01 Arnold Classic look was definitely phenomenal. Talk to us a little bit about coming to the 2001 Arnold Classic, because it's a great story, and you had a little bit different motivation for coming than some of the other guys.
First of all, I'd like to thank everybody for coming out today. And a lot of times, you know, we take life for granted, and I had one of those instances last year in June. I kind of like just remembered that I did a seminar with you.
Yeah, it was the day of
the
day of our seminar. Wow.
And I just recall that I don't even remember doing that seminar. I was sick the whole time I was on stage. And, you know, a lot of times we take life for granted. But me, I feel that I'm very, very fortunate to be in this position I'm in. You know, a lot of people dream about being this superstar athlete when they're young. I guess because I'm from a small town, there were not a lot of dreams about becoming a superstar athlete or nothing like that. So I kind of like stumble upon everything. So everything that's happening to me is pretty much a blur. And I never, ever, ever, ever thought in a million years that I'd win not only one Olympia, but 80s. Really doing a lot more than just blowing my mind. You know, it's like unbelievable. I don't know if a lot of people saw my first win. There was another incident that I don't really recall because I think I fainted immediately after that. But going back to being on stage, you know, God has a lot of plans for each and every single one of us, and we never know when we're going to leave and when our time is up. And I kind of like experienced one of those, you know, that day that we did that seminar, June 30th of last year. And I was up there, and I was completely out of it. I was sick, basically. You know, I don't remember anything that I said. I do remember walking out there, and I do remember walking off. Those are two things that I remember vividly, but what went on up there, I have no idea. So,
well, you did a great job at that seminar as well. It was in Wisconsin in June, my home state. Ronnie was a guest at a competition out there, and of course we did the seminar before the show started. He crushed it as always, which shows his dedication to the fans.
Well, you know, anytime I'm on stage, I'm always having the ball and enjoying myself because this is you know, what I was meant to do. But going back to what I was trying to say is, you know, I've always appreciated, you know, everything that's come my way. And now that, you know, that happened to me, a lot of people don't know that, you know, I had a sepsis incident, and man, it's one of the hardest things in life that I think that you can face. I mean, I remember being in a whole lot of pain. I mean, pain that for me is really hard because I got a real high pain tolerance. I herniated a disc once and finished my workout.
Sounds like Ronnie.
Exactly. But this was pain on another level. And come to find out, not only did I have sepsis, but I also had a bad left ventricular that I had to have replaced. And if I didn't know back then, I know now that God really and truly wants me to be here and has a major plan for me. And like I said, I never take anything for granted. And I want to thank, once again, each and every one of you guys for coming out. I want to always thank you for, all the love. And I get a lot from you guys. I mean, a whole lot. And I try my best to give as much back as possible. There are some times where I get in a hurry because I'm trying to get somewhere and do some things. But I really appreciate you guys more than you think I do. I mean, on another level now that, this has happened. And like I was saying, I've always appreciated life and the things that happened to me. And now I pretty much double appreciate it, if that's even possible, because I'm a guy who appreciates any little thing that happens to him. So, like I said, I want to thank you guys once again, for coming out, supporting us, always coming out and supporting us, especially in our crazy sport of bodybuilding, where, we don't get a lot of credit because, they say, the drugs are what make us who we are, but that's not really true. If that was the case, I wouldn't be in all these pain that I'm in, now from all the hard work that I put in all these years now. I think I'm going on my 50th year, of training. I started when I was about 12 years old. I'll be 62 coming up in a couple months. Thank God, because I never ever thought in a million years that I would see that age when I was growing up around about, when I was a teenager, basically, and in college those days, those high numbers, are never really in your mind. But I am very fortunate, and I try to tell people all the time, reason why I'm here and I'm still enjoying what I do is because of the passion that I have for this working out thing. They say once you have passion for something, you never work a day in your life. A lot of times people ask me, how did I work full-time for the police department and do bodybuilding full-time? I just tell them, hey, every day that I woke up, I couldn't wait to get to the gym and get my workout in. And once I got my workout in, I couldn't wait to get to the job to get to work, because every day, at my job, being a police officer in Arlington, Texas, I look forward to going to work each and every single day, because I knew that there were a lot of people at Arlington, Texas that needed their asses kicked. And I'm one of those who enjoy kicking a lot of ass. As you can tell, from these Olympics that I won, same thing on stage. But yeah, this life that I'm living is a whirlwind life, one of those unbelievable lives, and I'm truly living a dream, because like I was saying earlier, I never ever thought I would even win one Olympic, not alone 8, because I had to be coasted and taught into being a bodybuilder, because when I went to a Metroflex gym, I was already on the police department, so my goal was to become maybe chief of police one day, and not Miss Olympia at the time, because to be honest with you, I didn't really know what being a bodybuilder was all about. It took Brian about a whole week of, trying to convince me to become a bodybuilder. And the only reason why I accepted was he gave me a free membership to the gym. So had he not offered that, who knows what would have happened. But everything happens for a reason. So I'm glad to be here, and like I said, I'm living the dream and having the time of my life. And I've went on and talked so much, I don't forget what question you asked me.
That's okay. That's okay. No, we were talking about the 2001 Arnold, of course. That was the year you came here, you dominated, widely regarded as one of the best physiques on any bodybuilding stage. But you didn't get 750 grand that year, but it wasn't necessarily the prize money that pushed you to competing in the 2001 Arnold. Motivation was a little different. You got a call from Jim Lorimer.
Well, Mr. Lorimer had been trying to get me to do the Arnold Classic every year after I won the Olympian, and every year was like, no, thank you. $100,000, it sounds real good, but I think I'm going to pass on that. But this one year, 2001, he said, I'm giving away a Hummer. And I'm like, man, I always wanted one of those things, so you got me there. So that kind of coasted me to do that Arnold Classic. And, the prize money was still there, but that Hummer is what really stood out. And, Andrew made, $750,000 last night? It took me, 6, 7 Olympias to win that? 6, 7 years, and he did it in one night? Why could I not be born just a little bit later? Andrew, I think he knows how fortunate he is and how lucky he is, because that's a lot of money. And if he's doing the show 2 weeks later in the UK, that's another $250,000. That's a cool $1 million.
Yes, sir.
I don't think I made that much my whole career. Winning those Olympias and Arnold Classics. And he's going to do it in almost 3 weeks. God is good, man. God is good.
We're going to see you in the UK.
Oh, it's done already.
It's done already.
Yeah,
Now,
Exactly.
Itineraries, everything is booked, just waiting for me to just show up, and I'll be respectful. I wouldn't say kick some ass, but I will show up and just like take it away, and that's it. Yeah.
Now, Andrew, of course, you got a trophy. You got the biggest check in bodybuilding history. But you just won your pro card a few years ago. For those of you who don't know, he won it here at the Arnold Amateur just a few years ago, 2022.
Yes, sir.
And came back, has been in the top placings.
No, you're missing like something. The same year, the same year, I got my pro card March, and in August, I got the Arnold UK.
Yeah, we pushed that. Was that September of that year, or was that?
Yes, sir.
August?
Yep.
Yeah, so he had an Arnold Classic title from the UK.
I already have
so
one.
You already have
WTA,
one.
exactly.
So when we're over in the UK, if he gets that another one, I get to say 2-time Arnold UK champion. But it's you get to share the stage with all these guys. I mean, these are the guys who we're looking up to: Ronnie, Jay, Phil, Kai. I mean, just obviously, the trophies and stuff is incredible. But the company you're in, what is you've joined the ranks of all these guys now. What does that feel like?
I don't know, man. I'm still waiting for this thing to sink in, because honestly, this whole thing just came. It came, I would say it came at the right time, and I just took it, but I was never a fan. I wasn't even interested in competing. I think it's God's time. It just came. And from day one, I took it. I remember everyone was like saying, when I told like a couple of my friends I decided to compete because I was training with Larry and the rest of them. And they were like, okay, like to get your pro card, you have to like go somewhere which is easy, like Malta, Kazakhstan, or Thailand, or Taiwan. I'm like, bruh, like I'm an electrical engineer. Yeah, we go for the hard stuff. We go way out there for the kill. And I'm like, if it's not the Arnold, I'm not doing it. And they're like, you can go to the Olympia, amateurs. It's 27 pro cards, first, second, third. I'm like, what? Second or get a pro card? Nah, it has to be one. And it has to be the overall. And I went there, made it happen. And the same year, Texas Pro. The same year, Arnold Classic UK. The only thing missing was the Olympia title, which the plan was to be top 5. But I was sick with COVID, and I wanted to pull out. Even my coach George said, "Hey man, if you cannot go on, just like call it quits." And I told him, I'm already here, so I'll just try to do the top 10, and that's it. So that was the only thing like missing, just the Olympia. And after that, it felt good. I'm like, okay, I'll keep pushing. And the next year, I got third. The next year, I didn't go. I was choked up with work. 2025, third again. And this year, I'm like, no, sir. Nope. It's 750. 750, like Ronnie said. I'm like, yeah. And what motivated me the most was taking the boxes, because there's something I believed in myself, consistency. I've never fallen down the ranks. I've always been ascending. Sometimes I'm just stuck, like I got third twice, fifth twice, but I've never descended. I've always been ascending up the ranks, and I knew every show I always make an improvement. It might be a little bit of percentage, but always make at least an inch of improvement. And after the Olympia, I was so confident because we cracked so many codes that we couldn't. Especially when I changed my trainer to Kamal, he understood what we're doing. And I didn't want to do the Romania show, but I wanted to be sure that we actually tick the boxes. So I went over there, did the Romania, and I was like, God damn, okay, now we're good. So yeah, I did some tours in December. I did some tours from November and December. In January 15th, I flew over to Tampa, and I started prep for the Arnold, and we went bang, 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 and yeah, here we are. Yes, sir.
All right, now Jay, you won a few Arnold Classics. Ronnie likes to remind you that you got some H2s and not an H1. He likes to throw that in your face. But you had established yourself, obviously, after getting runner-up at the 2001 Olympia. But you've talked quite frequently about how those 3 Arnold Classic victories really changed the trajectory of your career. Talk to us about that a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, like Ronnie said, he was kicking ass at the Olympia, and fortunately, most of the time it was mine. Agree, Ronnie, or? Not the only one, though, Jay. What's that? Not the only one. Yeah, not the only one. Which I feel good about that, Andrew. I think we're missing the whole point. Ronnie, you're talking about the money for Andrew Jacked. Yeah. His name is Andrew Jacked. Think about that. I thought I had a cool name with Cutler, and, we talk about Arnold, but Andrew Jacked.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, the Arnold was arguably, was the second best at the time, which, a lot of argument today, this is the best stage there is. Biggest money, I mean, look at the production, right? Biggest fan expo. But, was the second biggest prize, and like Ronnie said, there were other things that came along with that, but it solidified me as realistically the second best bodybuilder in the world, and I had to take that position for a while because I was competing against arguably the greatest ever with Ronnie Coleman. What do you think I'm the greatest? You think you're the greatest ever, Ronnie?
Whatever you say, Jay.
Okay. I'm trying to get you a little fired up, Ronnie, because I went every year. I was denied, it's 2001. I skipped 02 and 3, 4, 5, and then I won 3 in a row here. That was satisfying, but then I got to the Olympia and was a little disappointed every year. So when I gave up winning Arnold's and focused to go to the Olympia. You know, it took me a couple more times before I was able to win it. And, you know, that, looking back at the record now, and people are quick to say 4-time Mr. Olympia, which is, you know, Andrew just mentioned, like, bucket list. What is there to win now, right? Olympia, it's like the granddaddy of all shows. Joe Weider was a huge mentor to me, just like with Arnold. He created that Olympia title, and, you know, it's something that we all have, you know, all of us up here that, you know, this was our dream, was to be Mr. Olympia. But, you know, the Arnold Classics were solidifying us as into greatness, and built the confidence and gave us that visibility. And, you know, and then Arnold was able to create, you know, the global brand with the Arnold Classics, which Phil, you know, you were to compete in, and you know, that's where, you know, we are today. I mean, like I said, this show has so much recognition, and I still use it as part of my, you know, it's part of my title, and it means so much to me to be able to be here and compete and win 3 of those bad boys, and you know, to witness all these new divisions. Wesley, I mean, you came and won this show a couple years ago, and, you know, we're disappointed last year. So you took the whole year to really just focus, and you skipped the Olympia to do this. Why did you choose to come to the Arnold and skip the bigger title in people's eyes?
Yeah, because to me, the Arnold Classic is just, you know, as we Does it work? Yes. Well, to me, the Arnold Classic. Yes, sir. Wow. Imagine.
That's our new mic check.
All right. So the Arnold Classic is, of course, attached to Arnold himself, Arnold Schwarzenegger, my personal bodybuilding idol. That's who I grew up with as well. I watched Pumping Iron. I watched all his movies. Me and my dad watched him every single night. He was a fan. I was a fan. And then to all those years later, be on the Arnold stage, knowing what it feels like to win it in 2024, it changed my entire life. Of course, it's a title. You win some money, but the accolades that come with it, the opportunities that present themselves. I have 2 children at home. I have a family, and it changed our entire lives. Gave us more freedom, more happiness, I dare say, more time with the kids. I mean, those are priceless things, and I can only attribute those things to winning that Arnold in 2024. So yes, I skipped the Olympia to make sure I was at my very best, because I did not win the 2025 Arnold. I was disappointed. There were several factors, of course, but I learned a lot from that show, and I learned a lot from what you, Jay, and also Phil told me back at the FIBO, which was last year in April. Just ignore the naysayers, just like Arnold said. Ignore what everybody says. Focus on you. Work hard. Grow up until at least 280. I went a little bit above that to make sure I made the improvements. But to be able to make improvements, you need some time off. And the Olympia came between that Arnold and this Arnold. So I had to skip it to make sure I was at my very best, to show improvements, what bodybuilding is all about. And that's what I did at this Arnold to win my title back.
It was crazy, guys, because when we were at the Olympia, you know, I live in Las Vegas, so we had Wesley to be able to come on our podcast, and we had told Phil and I mean, I know what I told you. I said, you need to get huge. And basically, he showed up in my office. I'm like, holy shit. I'm like, are you classic still? And he said, this is what I need to do. And, I mean, you were almost 300 pounds when you came to Vegas. And, I mean, look at the physique that you put out on the stage, man. It was just so much improvement. And that's what all bodybuilding is all about. So the improvements mean so much. And when you have the ability to stand on this platform and showcase the hard work, and like Ronnie said, I didn't plan on being a bodybuilder necessarily. And similar to him, I got a free gym membership also. Damn, those free gym memberships, Ronnie, huh? Oh, yeah. So I probably never would have gone on stage because I wasn't confident that I looked good enough to stand up there And someone like Phil, Kai, I met you when you were a teenager. Phil, I met you when, you were 190 pounds, and you were some of the most shapely bodybuilders on the planet. And I think that you guys, I looked at you and say, oh, that guy has genetics. But at the same time, like Ronnie says, you have to work day in and day out to do this over and over. And, I think a lot of us sit up here and, we had the vision, but we just weren't sure the path it took to get there. And Arnold paved that way. I followed all his routines from the books. A lot of you guys remember there were magazines. That was our only outlet. So we had to make those routines come alive. And we all had people that we admired. I looked at Bob Paris, and I looked at Chris Dickerson, and I looked at Rich Gaspari, who was, battling Lee Haney. I mean, Lee Haney was retiring the year I came in. And, we go through the history of bodybuilding, Joe Weider mentoring a lot of us. And, but it all stemmed down what Arnold created, the platform. Still in the gym, I see him at Gold's Venice training all the time. And, I respect that when he's well into times where he doesn't have to necessarily work out. You can tell it's a true passion. Like you said, Ronnie, passion is everything. And I think a lot of the people sitting in the audience, that's why you guys are here. That's why you listen to the stories. That's why you continue to come out to these things, for the motivation, to build the consistency, and to show the respect to those people that might maybe helped you navigate to be better yourselves. So hopefully we have some future champions sitting in the audience, and we'll someday be sitting up here.
Now, Kai, when we talk about bodybuilding rivalries, the first names that come up are always Ronnie and Jay, but a very, very close second is Phil and Kai. Now, we know there was some tense years between the two of you. Obviously, put them next to each other. That stuff's all behind you. But the one thing, and I was working in media at the time, and the one things that we were consistently talking about is, despite the rivalry, we all felt it was great because the two of you pushed each other to your absolute limits. And Jay and Ronnie will talk pretty openly about they've made each other better, that they were pushing each other. Talk to us a little bit about those few years when you were going back and forth with Phil, the motivation, the rivalry. Give us a little bit of insight.
Yeah.
Kai, say something.
Yes. I have a lot of respect for Phil. I mean, and I say that very honestly. I think, you grow, you experience things, and, the enormity of what you're able to accomplish when you really, really want to do something with the whole of your heart and the fullness of your passion. I like all the great athletes up here. I am blown away with just being able to sit in this seat with Ronnie Coleman and Jay Cutler and the new athletes that are coming up that are at the top of their game, writing the new chapters of what the history books will have to just tell and live on in legend as they become their own larger versions of what supernatural success looks like for them. And I would be wrong if I weren't able to say publicly that I am deeply honored to be able to sit here, even with you, Phil. Yeah, and I say that to be funny, but at the same time, yeah, it's an amazing thing to see the things that you've been able to do in your career, and I wanted that. I wanted to be able to be my best. And this stage that we are able to sit on today was a huge platform and opportunity to do it. So I'm very, very thankful to the legacy of Arnold Schwarzenegger. Very, very thankful to even the athletes independently, one of the best of all time is sitting to my right. Well, two of the best, but I've never said it publicly like this, but yeah, there's no disrespect today. When I say anything that I say, but I definitely want to say that. The rivalry was intense because a lot of that was just very intense for, at least for me, because he was that good. And I wanted to be better. And I think all of us were able to discover in ourselves our ability to improve and to grow and reach very, very high heights, because it was in all of us to want to be better. So we pushed ourselves and we trained and we discovered, the possibility of a rival because there's somebody else that wanted it just as much as you did, and maybe even a little more. So yeah, I am very, very humbled and honored to even sit here like this, because this is amazing. I did not come here with this expectation. I didn't see this as planned. I didn't know if this was planned.
For those of you in attendance, this is the first time Kai's been on the panel in years, I think, since you won your last Arnold. Of course, we do these champion seminars, so we're very, very fortunate to have you here. We do know it was a little last minute, and Kai being the great sport, and you've got a fan base, and it's huge, and it's for a reason, because he does stuff like this.
Respect. If you didn't have, there's these stories that I realize now and another time in my career, that the magic moments, like those moments that are going to mean like the most to you and the most to the people that share it with you, that live, in those seconds that go by that feel like an eternity, when you're so passionate and committed. Sometimes people don't tell you that is like a golden moment in your life, and sometimes I think you can be so caught up in that it's harder to step outside of it and see the larger picture, the value. We share moments, even with, your competition, that helps you grow and experience something in your experience that is just, it'll be hard to write about. It'll be hard to even, talk about. You might even need therapy to be able to understand, and to articulate how valuable and awesome the experience is, and how much better you were for just having that opportunity, the opportunity to stand with the people that you thought you were competing against, gives you an opportunity a lot of times to just find things inside of yourself that you didn't know, your ability to be good and to even understand what your possibility of greatness means to you, a lot of times is a lot more explorable because that experience exists. So, I think the great champions before me, what you sacrificed and what you did to see your dream happen. I think the amazing, amazing things that I've gotten a chance to see, the example in you and Arnold, and I pray that these new writers of the history of what our sport will be and what their greatness will look like, I pray that you do it in the best health and confidence, that you will stretch that beyond. And in this moment, I am very, very thankful to be able to say, Phil, I appreciate everything that you represent as the champion that you've distinguished yourself as being. And I remember those golden moments because I know now that they were golden, even when it didn't feel good. I realized it was helping me grow, you know. And I thank you for being that athlete that was able to do that, and that kind of man that was able to be exactly what you were, because you've helped me grow tremendously, and my career owes you a great deal of thanks. Yeah, respect.
Phil, I think I got to be honest, man. Those are words I've heard from Kai about you that I haven't previously heard. So, you know, obviously I'd like to, I mean that in the absolute best way possible. So, I mean, obviously talk about the rivalry, but, you know, having him sit next to you and speak like that and saying that you helped him grow as a person, of course, you know, we look at placings first and second and all the moments on stage, but, you know, what do you say to that?
Thank you. Thank you, Kai, for your hard work. All of the different things that you had to endure as a youth. You know, you've dealt with so much adversity, and you took that and you multiplied it every day. And for everybody here, you know, when I first met Kai, I believe it was when we were doing the Sean Ray Pro-Am, I believe. And, you know, we were both just starting out. And, you know, you just don't know how things are going to turn out. I happened to win that show. But I remember seeing Kai, like, do these routines, and I was like, I've never seen a body contort himself so fluidly like that. And I was kind of more stiff, you know, because I was dealing with just trying to go from a previous sport of basketball to try to get into the sport of bodybuilding. And I started studying Kai, to be honest, because I thought, man, like, if I can move a little bit better, maybe I can do better. And, you know, I remember winning that show, and then I remember watching Kai actually win that same show the following year in Denver. I was like, man, this is really cool. And you talk about opportunity. You know, we all come from pretty humble beginnings, to be quite honest. You know, I wasn't born with a bunch of money and stuff like that, and damn sure wasn't winning 750. But I was the guy that actually had $43 to his name when I was doing the NPC Junior Nationals. And, you know, you just have, when they say you have $1 in the dream, you just do the best you can. But when it comes to Kai Green, I remember seeing him win, and I was like, oh boy, this guy's gonna, you know, be up there too. And then you guest posed in Denver. Dude, this guy came out, and you were smaller the year before, but he was massive the year later. And I remember you guest posed, you did something that I'd never seen someone do at the time. I mean, Ronnie had done it, but I'd never seen someone up and coming do it, and that was he came in from the rear of the arena and walked toward the stage, and it was silent. There was no cupping of the ear trying to get an applause. It was just him being in his element and just being able to let people awe at what they were about to see on that stage. And I was just like, oh my goodness, this guy knows how to put on a lot of muscle in a very short period of time, and I got a lot of work to do. And, you know, competing with Kai, you know, was one of the greatest highlights of my entire career. We are definitely attached to one another for the rest of our lives because of that dollar in the dream that allowed us that motivation. Oh, man, those are some great freaking times, dude. I remember being in Columbus, and I really wanted to win the Arnold. I did it in 2007, got 5th. I came back in that next year, placed second to Dexter, watched him win the Olympia, and I got 3rd at my first Olympia. So I thought, well, why not take the year off, come back and, you know, try to win that Olympia. And I ended up getting food poisoning the day before the freaking 2009 Olympia. and that's when Jay Cutler stomped a hole in everyone's chest and gave the quad stomp, that famous freaking quad stomp. And I remember getting 5th, and Kai got 4th, and we were attached again. I remember then going to watch you compete in New York, and you did, I would say, probably the greatest posing routine of all time. And that was when you did the Dirty Diana routine. And I don't think you know this, but I was sitting in the back studying your every freaking move. I mean, I'm studying, but then I'm like, stop studying. Enjoy it. So a couple guys, and you know how you New Yorkers, I'm from the West Coast, East Coast thing. New Yorkers are like, so Phil, like, yeah, man, what you think? This and that. Like, why are you like excited? Because I started smiling. It wasn't about like, oh yeah, I'm about to go ahead and beat him and this and that. I'm going to do this. That's all ego. I put the ego aside and I told them, I said, this is magical. This is a person who truly cares about the essence of the sport. Kai, you're a purist. You guys need to look that definition up. He's a purist. Everything that happens to be about professional bodybuilding is very difficult. But that routine, I'll never forget. And that's what the bodybuilding world is about, is like, it doesn't matter where you come from, doesn't matter where you go through, you just take that, you multiply it each and every day. And I stood up and started cheering. I started clapping. I was a fan. I'm still a fan. And that following year, I was like, I'm going to do, you know, the the Arnold. I gave everything, or at least I thought at the time, you know, I gave my all, because I knew what I was going against, because you had just won the Arnold the previous year. And it didn't work out. I thought I had it. I was like, I got this. This is the best. Like, I just had food poisoning like a few months back. I'm going to do everything I got to do. And I came up short. And it changed me. I saw you win, and I said, man, I got to get some get back. I got to get some get back. And by winning that Olympia, I didn't think about as get back. I thought it would satisfy me. It was more about becoming a better version of myself. And we got to travel the world together. We went to India together. Now, that was a wild trip. We were on a bus having to go do like a press conference or something. And I happened to be sitting like right here on a bus. We have all the other athletes sitting on this bus, and there was only one seat available. And Kai Green gets on the freaking bus. So, of course, I take my meal prep bag and I put it right here. I'm like, nah, you're going to have to find another place to go. And Kai takes up a lot of space. It's a very large human. And I'm like, okay. And it was one of those moments where, like, and we weren't really even beefing or anything back then. It was just like competitive spirit. It was like our spirits were battling. But it was like high school. Ooh, what's going to happen? What's going to happen? And we just sat there and we just kind of I don't remember what we said, but we were just like allowing our spirits to just be in that moment of like, we're going to get it on. We're going to do this. And we gave a lot of great moments to those people in India. You developed a huge fan base in India. You can't even go to India without, you know, like if you go to India with Kai and me, even as Mr. Olympia, they would follow Kai more than they follow me. And I have no problem saying that because of his body of work. And, you know, we just shared a lot of moments. And, yeah, you know, we filmed Generation Iron together. You know, that was a great film. I didn't necessarily like how it portrayed me. but at the same time, it was a great moment in bodybuilding history that we actually got to travel to LA to do a presser, a viewing, And we got to be treated like Hollywood for a minute while we were getting ready for the 2013 Olympia. I'm gonna say it, man. Like we shared a lot of moments. I will tell you, I did miss you when you stepped off that Olympia stage. I really did, because you pushed me so much. And although the other athletes are great, they weren't you. They didn't bring that fire in me. And when I, won my 7th, of course I was very excited. I felt like, oh yeah, I tied Arnold. This is great. This is dope. Like, wow. And then I lost to Sean, rest in peace. When you're winning, sometimes you have a lot of friends, a lot of entourages, all this other stuff. Everybody wants to go to your after party. Ronnie used to put on the best after parties, by the way. And,
Yeah, buddy.
yeah, and then because of Ronnie, I wanted to have the after party. Jay had his after parties and stuff like that, and I was like, I want my after party, But when I lost in 2018, there was no after party. It was a lot of silence. You go from having like 100 people, wanting to be your friend and party it up with you and this and that, to I only had like 11 people in my hotel room, silence, this and that. When I got back to Denver, I'll never forget it. I was sulking, I then had my second hernia surgery, and I'm just like very upset. And the phone rings, and it was Kai Green. Kai was the only bodybuilder at that moment in time that called. I won't tell you everything that he said, but it's kind of similar of what we're experiencing right now, and that was respect. You actually lifted up my spirits that day. You reminded me who I was and who I am and what I should be focusing on. And that is just harnessing the energy, every rep, every set in life, not just bodybuilding. So I'll never forget it. My wife, Cherie, won't ever forget it either. And she reminds me also, if she was here, that she was a fan of yours before she was ever a fan of mine. She was like, man, like he could do this, he could do all these, man, you can't pose like that. I was like, I sure can't, babe. Like, I can grow some arms and some legs and this and that, but in all seriousness, it's just so much gratitude. And I thank you all for coming here today. I thank Arnold for actually continuing having this event. It gave Kai an incredible platform. The Olympia was great to me, but the Arnold Classic was great to me also. Being able to travel to Madrid and actually compete there, being able to increase our fan bases. But you guys like us being next to each other? Because I feel like, I don't know, we might be onto something. Because I know that Kai and I have a lot of stories, the things that go on in our heads or went through our minds when we were going against each other. Kai Green is one of the most competitive people I've ever come across. I mean, obviously, Ronnie Coleman, Jay Cutler, you guys are true competitors. True competitors. There's a difference. You can be a bodybuilder and just kind of like be happy to be there type of thing, and this and that. And it's another thing to be a hardcore competitor. And that's what makes you guys feel something. The levels of conviction, not just in their voice, but through their body of work. And I, again, can't thank Kai, thank Jay, thank everybody so much enough. But, oh, Kai, I think, man, we should have got it on one more time back then. We should have, I think. But, life has no rehearsal. God makes no mistakes. And it's really cool to know that the Predator and the Gift will always be cemented in bodybuilding history. And I just want to say thank you, guys.
Ronnie, I know both these guys just talked about their adversities they faced and in pushing and driving each other. One of your most impressive victories, and one that I think everybody's always going to remember, is your 2003 Olympia victory. Of course, Jay came in 2001 as a close runner-up. He was leading in prejudging. We all know that story. 2002. You were a little bit off, that was the year everybody was rooting for Gunther. You still walked away with the title, but you really had something to prove when you came back in 2003. And it was not only one of the most impressive physiques that we've ever seen on a stage. I don't know if we'll ever see anybody like a 2003 Ronnie Coleman, but it was also one of the most just overall dominating wins. Talk to us a little bit about that period from 01 to 02 to barely winning, to people doubting you, to coming back in 03 the way you did.
Well, life is full of adversity. You're always going to face it somewhere along the way, and I think I faced it more in 2002 when we all know what happened. Gunther beat me at the GNC show. I don't know if you want to call that a show, but anyway, I lost, and I said right then and there, these guys want to go to war. So I'm going to take them to war. And after every Olympia, I always took about 3 months off and chilled out and just try to be a normal person. Not 2002. I was like, okay, we are not taking any breaks because we got a war to go to. And you might get me in the battle, but I'm going to win the war. And soon as the GNC show was over and I faced that adversity, I went back to the gym with 0 time off. And every single day I went into the gym with an attitude. And I tried to lift as heavy as possible every single day because you're not going to take this title from me. No way, you're not taking this from me. And every single day I went to the gym with, they want to go to war, so let's take them to war. And I had that attitude each and every single day. And I lifted sort of like a maniac. But, I had a lot of success. And when I say I lifted heavy, these machines, they have like a 250-pound stack on them. That was real lightweight. I added another 45-pound plate and another 45-pound plate, and I'm still getting at least 10 reps out of each and every single set. So like I said, they wanted to go to war, and I took them. And what you saw that day backstage when I peeled off was me going to war, let's say getting prepared to go to war every single day. And, people like to say 2003 was a great year for me, but I always go back to 98. 98 was a year that, I didn't think I was going to even make the top 10 that year, because the year before I got 9th. And I'm like, the night of the show, I went back to my hotel after, carving.
When I came in '01 and challenged Ronnie, that was kind of my best on paper up until the point where now people recognize the quad stomp year, which, Phil and Kai were, Ronnie, you were gone by that point. You had retired. But, Kai, I remember Kai camped out in Vegas. He did like Rocky style. He moved to Vegas and was training in kind of a gym that was my home gym. So it was like almost like he was kind of invading my camp a little bit, And then Phil and I obviously had such a relationship, but I watched Phil, come close, to, his first Olympia, placed third. For you guys that follow the sport, to come to your first Olympia and place third. Like Ronnie and I never did that. I was second to last in my first Olympia. I think, Ronnie, you were last. So, I mean.
First Olympia.
Huh?
I was dead last.
Dead last, okay. Well, I was 15 out of 16, my first. So I knew that I had great challenge. And, Phil was alongside of me. For you guys that don't know the deep history, Phil was, he was my number one supporter as we were on top. He came and stayed with me. We trained together. We spent a lot of time, just like with Ronnie and I. Ronnie and I, we spent a lot of time training, even though the magazines built up this battle that we were the worst of enemies. But we would, spend time training in the gym. And, Ronnie was a different breed. I mean, talk about love and training. I mean, I still train 7 days a week. I'm a maniac when it comes to working out, but you've seen him with all the adversity, go through all the workouts. But when he was on top, I was telling this in a seminar, Ronnie would show up off the plane in tights. That's what we wore back then, huh, Ronnie?
Oh, yeah.
You wore like purple tights and yellow tights, and Ronnie's veins would be like coming out of his tights walking off the plane, and Ronnie's flying in first class in tights. And I always wondered what people thought. He'd come off that plane, and I see him walking through the airport, and you're just seeing people's faces, like, with the legs, and you had big boots on all the time, Ronnie, those big black boots you'd wear.
Police boots.
And he'd be like, okay, let's get some food and let's go to the gym. And a lot of times we were coming in on Friday nights to these guest appearances, and I mean, it was late. And he'd be like, all right, the gyms are closing down for him to be in the corner, loading up the squat bar to 600-700 pounds. And that was just routine for him. And
Yep.
for a challenger, man, it's, I think, do I have to train like this? And I remember the fans telling me, they'd come up to me at all the events and say, if you want to beat Ronnie, you got to train heavy, you got to train harder. And my ability was limited because he was just at a different level. But then when I had Kai and Phil, kind of chasing me down, I was coming, into a different era of bodybuilding when Ronnie stepped away. It was kind of like, the aesthetics, and, Phil talked about Kai's posing ability. I was challenged. And I lost to Dexter Jackson. You guys saw him collect his Lifetime Achievement Award last night, and, probably part of history, he beat me in the 2008 Olympia, and I always said I gave that title away. I came in, I got complacent. He deserved it. But that was kind of the time where Phil arrived, Kai was coming in, and in '09, like, there was a lot of threat, that someone was going to come take my place in history. So when I came out and quad stomped, like Phil said, Kai, you remember that? I was only looking at my leg to make sure it was still cut. And they took that picture. And I looked down at my leg, and, that is kind of recognized as one of the great poses. We all have, people that are recognized in how they pose. And that was probably one of the greatest moments to win the title back. No one ever had did that at that point yet, and everyone doubted me. And Phil made a great point. There's a lot of people that are surround you when you're the champ. And I had an entourage. I'd show up at the gym, and somehow I'd have like 10 people ready to work out with me everywhere I went. You remember that, Phil?
Yeah.
I don't even know, like, people would just show up, and I'd be like, all right, I guess we're all working out today, and then you lose, and it's silence. Even the sponsors, you know, hey, is Jade at the end of his career? You know, I pushed so hard against Ronnie Coleman. I mean, placing second for so many years, and then I win it and overcome, and, you know, first time beating Olympia champion on stage, '06. You know, I beat my idol, you know, and I never got to enjoy that moment. I talk about this because I was so concerned with Ronnie going for record 9 because I knew it meant so much to him, that my biggest concern, you know, we were chatting on stage. You can go back and watch the video, and Ronnie told me, you know, you beat me, you won. So I already knew, but I'm like, damn, how am I going to respond? I want to raise Ronnie's hand. If you notice, and then I raised his hand immediately because he was so disappointed. And, you know, that was part of history. So the '06 moment was spectacular for me, but it was terrible for my biggest competitor, you know, the guy I idolized, you know, my close friend that I respected so much, that he was the reason. I mentioned that in my speech. I mean, if there was no Ronnie Coleman, you'd see no greatness from my side. I have to credit him. Although I was driven, you know, that man, he's the reason, because there is no one greater than that person over there, just in all around. Ronnie always supported me. I remember my first victory, Night of Champions. I got a phone call after prejudging, and ring, 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 Ronnie Coleman. Hey, congratulations. I said, what do you mean? He said, well, you won. I said, well, it doesn't finish till tonight, Ronnie. He goes, no, you won it. So I just wanted to wish you congratulations. We didn't even know each other then. Champion you that I was able to believe in yourself and stop respecting me in that sense, and realize that you have greatness. And I watched him switch, and then he became intense, and he became his own person. You saw what he brought in 2011. You know, it was extraordinary. So when you talk about greatest physiques, and, you know, I think arguably that was probably his best. So it's like, I take my moments and I credit those people around me, because, yeah, I think I'd had a history in bodybuilding, but it was the others around me that created that drive, that motivation. They brought a lot of greatness, and of course I had a huge fan base at that time, so people believed in me, but there was a lot of people that doubted me also, and sometimes I was best at being the underdog, and I believe that's when I was my best. So '09, for sure, history, recognized for that. I mean, today to the stage.
Now, Andrew, the top of the men's open division right now, we don't really see these having, you know, hey, I got to chase Ronnie, or hey, I know I'm going to be on stage next to Phil. Where is your head at when you're training? You're not really focusing on one single guy, are you?
Yeah, I think it's a different individual perspective. I'm never chasing a human. I'm chasing who I'm looking at in the mirror, which is me. And that's the ultimate mindset. Yeah, because I don't know what this person is dealing with, or what the other person is dealing with, or how they're like doing their thing or whatever, but me, I have to face me and challenge me, so that I can be able to sort out myself with those guys whenever we stay on stage. And that's why the ultimate goal was just me.
Now, Wesley, with you're right at that cap for a classic physique at this